What is up, y'all? Now that the Super Bowl is over, it's time to start that prep for the 2026 fantasy football season. Big shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. Congratulations on the Super Bowl victory. But we've got fantasy season to prepare for. Today, we're going to be going over the top 25, 26 probably wide receivers. We're going to show you a sneak peek at our Google Sheet that we use to keep track of how we value all of our players. We're split it out by position as well, just in case you want to sort a little bit easier. So let's jump on into it. For those of you that are new here, let's go over a quick few things about our sheet so that you can wrap your head around what exactly is going on here. For starters, we've got all of our wide receivers here split into value tiers, 1 through probably about tier 12 ish. I know some people use the letter tier system. If you prefer that method, let us know in the comments and we'll think about changing it up going forward. We also have everyone split into a target round. We typically average it out based on what the ADP is looking like. Try to get 12 people in a round. So while it doesn't have 12 wide receivers in round one, just know that that's because we're factoring in the running backs and all the other position players that we might also suggest drafting in that round. Obviously, we have the team code, the player names, position. The position rank is just what they're ranked for wide receivers. And then once the schedules are released, we'll also include the bye week. We also color code the player name cells based on if we are preferring to target these players or avoid them. For instance, Puka Nacua is a big target for us, so he's going to be highlighted in this color. And then maybe like a Justin Jefferson who might not have the quarterback that we like, we mark him as an avoid. So just something to keep in mind as we go through this list. That's just what the colors mean. Let's jump into tier 1 here. So basically, how the tiers are going to work is I am comfortable with you taking anyone in a tier at a given time. So if you're, the first pick up and we have the top 3 picks ranked as tier 1 players, I'm totally cool with you taking any of the 3 of them. For us, it's going to be Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, and JSN. We're preferring to target Puka and Jamar. JSN obviously just won the Super Bowl, balled out all season, put up crazy numbers, but he lost his OC, which could be a problem. And Sam Darnold did not look great in the Super Bowl in general, so I think he has a little bit more questions at quarterback than these other guys do. As for Puka, our target for number 1, the big question going into this offseason was, is Matt Stafford coming back? And as of just a couple days ago, he said, yeah, he's coming back. So I'm all in on Puka Nacua myself. I was all in on him last year. I named my one team last year Nacua Matata because I was so on Puka. I think Devontae kind of ate up a lot of his touchdowns last year, so I'd expect that target or that share of touchdowns to kind of even out a little bit more this year, hopefully. But I mean, how can you not go with Puka? Well, I guess the first way you could not is with Jamar Chase. His big problem last year was Joe Burrow got hurt early and was out for a huge portion of the season. They did not have a great quarterback situation. They had to get Joe Flacco in there to kind of steady the ship a bit. But when Joe Burrow is in games, Jamar Chase goes absolutely nuclear all the time. He's got T. Higgins as his sort of Batman Robin combination. And the Bengals have a really easy schedule next year. It's looking a lot like the Patriots schedule did this year. They're obviously playing all their divisional games, but they're also playing the NFC South, the AFC South, and then they get the Chiefs, who are, I mean, they're kind of a shell of their former selves this year. The Dolphins, who are in shambles, it feels like. And the Commanders, who did not look good last year, they had a lot of injury problems, um, losing their OC. Who knows what the Commanders are going to look like? So Jamar obviously has a chance to get back to wide receiver one. I think I'm much higher on him than I am JSN personally, but I can totally understand why you would want to take JSN at one of these 3 picks. Now for tier 2, we've got 2 guys here, Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. Pretty polarizing pieces, I think. They've got really good offenses around them, which is going to help their value. But they don't quite have what it takes right now, at least, to get into that top tier 1 with the 3 guys we mentioned earlier. For Amon-Ra, it's just always something, whether it's Goff kind of falling apart at some points during the season, or him having to share a lot of that load with, tools like Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery. Like, they've got pieces. Sam Laporta. They have a lot of pieces in Detroit, which is going to be great for their offense, but it means that not everything is funneled through Amon-Ra. He has been, I believe, wide receiver 3 for the past couple seasons. He could make the jump to get into that top tier this year. It's very possible. I'm really high on him, so if you're picking towards like the later half of the first round, I really, really like Amon-Ra there. And then as for CeeDee Lamb, this is really assuming that George Pickens stays. Pickens, they have like a Batman and Robin situation going on there, but who's Batman? Who's Robin? That's kind of the big issue, where this past year Pickens has really gotten a ton of the touchdown volume, but whereas in LA, Puka gets funneled tons and tons of passes, gets tons of receptions, and still gets a lot of touchdowns. This past year, CD did not see the same volume that Puka saw. And Pickens was seeing more than Devontae saw in LA. So it kind of ate away at CD's value a bit. He's had some injuries over the years, and Dak is only getting older. So we will see what winds up in Dallas. Currently, we don't even know if Pickens is going to be back on the roster next year. It's looking like he might be tagged some way. I've seen the franchise tag out there. I've seen transition tag recommended out there. But we'll see what happens there, because that will affect where we're putting CD. As for tier 3, we've got Drake London, Malik Nabers, and Justin Jefferson all in here. These guys all have had plenty of opportunities to show what they can do. They've all gone absolutely bananas at points in their career. Justin Jefferson, I mean, he was wide receiver 1 for years, but these guys all have something big going on that's holding them back, which is why we have them in tier 3. For Drake London, he's got a weird quarterback situation. We don't really know what Atlanta is going to do with their quarterbacks. Penix is hoping to be back by the start of the season, but who knows? Kirk Cousins is probably going to get cut, so they can save some room there. Does Kyle Pitts come back? They did get Stefanski as their new head coach, which I think is going to help a lot. But there are a lot of other pieces around that make it tough for me to put Drake London up any more tiers than this. I like him in the second round, and I also like Malik Nabers here. Malik Nabers has another one of those situations where new coach, quarterback was a rookie last year, but Jackson Dart showed. I felt like he's got potential to be a really good quarterback in this league, depending on how the system uses him and if he can stay healthy. They also have Cam Scatterby there, who is a psycho in all the best ways on the football field. Wait till you see where we have him on our running back rankings. Wandale has been great to fill in when Malik was out last year. Um, so I think it's another situation kind of like Amon-Ra where everybody has a chance to feast. They do have a really young quarterback, so we'll see if everything's clicking right away, especially with Harbaugh coming in. And Nabers did have that big injury last year. Um, there's been reports that his recovery hasn't seemed great based on how he's still wearing braces and casts and stuff. Um, he thinks he's going to be fine by the time the season starts, but that is TBD. So if he was healthy going into the season, I would probably have him in the tier 2 category, but there's an asterisk there, you know? And another player with an asterisk is Justin Jefferson. Who is their quarterback? If it's JJ McCarthy, uh, what can you say? He was like wide receiver 44 or something like that last year. Um, but Jefferson, he did okay when Carson Wentz came in. So if they can figure out their quarterback situation, even for the first half of the season, Justin Jefferson gets a lot of value and will quickly climb back up those rankings because he can get 1,000 yards with, as we saw, the worst quarterback in the league. So there is always potential for Jettas. Then our next tier 4, we've got George Pickens, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, and Chris Olave. Pickens, we touched on him before. Does he stay in Dallas? I think they're going to tag him, so he's going to wind up staying somehow, some way. Does that motivate him to actually try to play football for a full season during the entire games? He's got something going on there where he just like has these moments where he just would rather do some boneheaded stuff than take a penalty, than focus on catching balls and scoring touchdowns, which he's proven he's very good at that. So if he can keep his head on straight, I mean, he's got potential to flip flop with CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion. That's TBD. I don't mind him in the back end of round 2 personally. I prefer him over Nico Collins, who last year I took Nico Collins in the first round, and CJ Stroud completely fell apart this past year. If it wasn't for Davis Mills coming in, I don't know what that Texans team looks like for a lot of that season. Nico Collins has tons and tons of potential, but there's also a ton of receivers in that room with him. I don't really trust CJ Stroud. They don't have a running back that's gonna really open up the pass game at all. Woody Marks is like the worst under center back in the league, I'm pretty sure. So it's hard for me to trust Nico Collins, especially because he personally burned me in my league last year. And then these last two, Rashee Rice and Chris Olave, both of these guys are PPR scams. Like they are gonna get tons of targets. Rashee Rice just for whatever reason the scheme in Kansas City is to get him the ball in the red zone. So he gets a lot of touchdowns too. When he first came back from his suspension, he was wide receiver 1, I think, for like 3 weeks. He was going crazy. But he's had some legal issues off the field. We don't know Mahomes' timetable, and when Mahomes gets back, are things going to be different? Is Travis Kelce coming back? Don't know about that. Lost their coordinators. It's it's tough. But they did get Eric Bieniemy back, which that could be a plus for Rashee Rice. And then Chris Olave in New Orleans, Shuck looked really good at the end of last year. He's another young quarterback like Jackson Dart, who I think showed that he belongs in the league. Now he may not be Dan Marino, but Olave was great all last year, just getting consistent points. So I'm really comfortable putting all these guys in our tier 4 category, which is going to be sort of like the end of round 2, beginning of round 3. I'm cool with any of those guys in whatever order you prefer. Now, as for tier 5, these lists are going to start to get bigger. We're pulling away from the like elite, and I think that differentiating the minutia of the top few picks is much more important than the like mid to late round guys, because those guys all are kind of a crapshoot when it comes to consistency. Um, so these tiers are going to start to get a little bit wider. Tier 5, we've got Tet McMillan for starters. If he could have got in the end zone a little bit more last year, he would have been an absolute monster. So I'm really high on him. I had him in both my leagues. Uh, really great. I think the Panthers showed that they're, much improved last year. Made the playoffs. Like there could be some hope. That division is, I don't want to say free, but it is not a strong division. Like there is ample opportunity for Tet McMillan to ball out. And I think he did at times last year. If he would have gotten the end zone more, would have been great. But yeah, as that offense grows, I think his value is going to continue to grow. And then after Tet, we have another target in T. Higgins, who we've touched on earlier when talking about Jamar Chase. T is the best Robin in the league, in my opinion. I know I have both of the Cowboys ranked higher, but I don't feel like they are a Batman Robin situation necessarily, because you don't really know who's who there. This one you definitely know who's who with Jamar and T, but T, like, if Jamar's ever out, T goes crazy. He's still very consistent. The Bengals love to throw the ball. Um, T is a great pick late in round 3. I think he was going in round 2 last year, so like he's going late, but that's, I think, partially because Joe Burrow was hurt all last year, which kind of dragged down their stats. And like I said earlier, the Bengals schedule is easy. NFC South, AFC South, Chiefs, Dolphins, Commanders. Like T's got potential to put up points. And then we got AJ Brown. Obviously, there's a lot of drama that came with him this year. I personally am an Eagles fan, so I experienced it firsthand. The OC situation in Philadelphia is questionable, I would say, right now. But I will say that it was very obvious to anyone who watched an Eagles game last year that they were not utilizing their players on offense in the correct fashion. They ran a ton of hitch routes. They're very predictable. I think getting the new OC in there is going to be a great change. I mean, we're talking about someone who comes from the McVay and Shanahan system, so there's a lot of potential for AJ to go crazy again. He still put up 1,000 yards. Like he gets targets. He scores touchdowns. There's a little bit of like extracurricular stuff with the media that goes on, but uh, as far as football goes, AJ Brown is a fantastic receiver. He's strong. I'm totally comfortable taking him here. And I also like Lad McConkey a lot here. Speaking about coaching changes, getting Mike McDaniel in that coaching room for the Chargers, I think it's going to be so good for that team. I mean, they get their O line is going to be fully recovered. That was a big problem for the Chargers before the O line started getting all those injuries last year. Their offense was sick. And then like obviously Omari and Hampton got hurt. Justin Herbert got hurt. So I think this year I really like the Chargers on so many levels. You're going to see Justin Herbert and Omari Hampton ranked pretty highly on our list as well. But having that new Mike McDaniel offense in there and a healthy offensive line, I'm high on Lad McConkey this year. Last year he was like a second round pick. You can get him in the 4th probably right now. If you're already drafting like some of the crazies out there. And I just really like him here. Then the last player in tier 5 is Garrett Wilson. I mean, Garrett Wilson, he just plays for the Jets, really. I mean, What more can you say beyond that? He's a stud receiver. It's just the Jets are struggling to kind of find their identity right now. They have a lot of stuff to do this summer, as far as the draft goes, as far as free agency goes, to kind of put things back on track. Um, he's coming off an injury, so there's questions there, which is why I'm avoiding him personally at the moment. But if you take him, like, he's a stud. He's gonna get you points. It's just it's the Jets. Then we move into tier 6, where we've got Devontae Adams, who, he's paired with Puka. He's got that McVay offense. We know Matt Stafford's coming back. Kyron Williams in the backfield. He's going to be good. He's one of the best receivers in the league. League leader in touchdowns. I mean, how do you say no? I tried to get him in both of my leagues last year and had a really hard time prying him away from anybody. I think that touchdown number is going to come down a little bit, but he's still one of the best receivers in the league. If you can get him in the 4th round, I love him here personally. Then you've got Jameson Williams in Detroit, who, after Campbell took over play calling in the middle of the season, Jameson really turned it on. He became a monster. But they've got a new OC going into the season. Not sure how everybody's going to be utilized exactly yet. We don't know if Montgomery's coming back. He's got to split some stuff with St. Brown, and Tesla looked pretty good last year as well. So I like Jameson Williams. I'm totally cool if you take him here. Personally, I think there's a lot of inconsistency with his game, as far as fantasy points go. So I would avoid him right here in the 4th round. I'd probably be more comfortable taking him in the 5th round, but if you like him here, go for it. I don't have a problem with that. Then we've also got Emeka Egbuka, who was a crazy rookie at the beginning of last year. He was putting up insane numbers, and then everything fell apart. Baker got hurt. All the receivers in Tampa Bay got hurt. Bucky Irving got hurt. Like the wheels came off in Tampa. I think he's got a really high ceiling. We don't know what's going to happen with Mike Evans yet. If Mike Evans leaves, obviously Egbuka is going to be, he might shift up the list a little bit more if Evans leaves. So we'll have to monitor that a little bit. I I think he's got a really high ceiling. He scores touchdowns. He's pretty consistent when he's healthy. So we'll see, but I really like him here. And I also really like Devontae Smith, Eagles fan. Obviously, I love Devontae. There's been a lot of people talking recently about how if A.J. Brown were to be moved, that Devontae could have a JSN type season. That I don't think is that far fetched. I mean, Devontae, he's a great route runner. He's insane on the edges by the sidelines. He goes up and gets the ball. Like he's a great receiver. I think he'll be a wide receiver 1 on so many other teams. This Eagles offense, like what's it going to be this year? I think is the big question mark. He's always around 1,000 yards. If he can get more touchdowns, obviously his value goes up. And that's where I think if the Eagles move on from A.J. Brown, which I don't think they will, but if they do, I think his touchdown numbers come up astronomically. So it's another situation to monitor with Howie Roseman at the helm. And then not far behind him, we got Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers started last season really well, and then just like some of the other Ravens, and then everything just boom imploded. I I don't know what to say going into this next year. I want to say a lot of it was injury related, but now they're going to have a whole new coaching staff. Derrick Henry is not getting any younger. Um, Lamar's having problems staying healthy, but like if everybody can stay healthy and if Zay Flowers can get in the end zone, he's got really high potential. We saw that with how he started the beginning of last year. So I love him at the back end of round 4 personally. Um, but yeah, any of these guys in round 4 I think are fantastic picks. And then finally, we're going to get into tier 7, which is a big asterisk section for us here. Luther Burden on the Bears. What happens with DJ Moore? I mean, Luther Burden, I want to say this second half of last season, definitely the playoffs. Dude's a monster. Like, he has crazy advanced stats. If DJ Moore stays, that's obviously going to hurt Burden's value a bit because then he's wide receiver 3 in that equation. I mean, unless you put him above Odunze, which is possible given that Odunze can't really catch the ball. I love Luther Burden. Uh, I was pretty high on him going into the season last year, but the way he finished the season, like, dude blocks. Uh, Coaches love him. He just plays football the right way, and he's an absolute machine. I mean, I think he's going to be wide receiver 1 on that Chicago Bears team for a long time. And I think this year is going to be a real big year 2 breakout for him. So I love taking him right here. And then the 3 guys we got with him are the 3 big name rookies: Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate, and Jordan Tyson. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't watch as much college football this past year, so I'm leaning a bit heavily into some of the research I've done over the past few weeks for these guys. Um, I know the consensus is kind of Tate and Tyson are probably 1 and 2 here, but I've seen a few things that have me a little bit higher on Mekhi Lemon, maybe. I mean, he's got a 3.02 yards per route run, which is the best of the 3 by quite a bit. I mean, Tyson's at 271 and Tate's at 227. So I really got to get into like maybe some all 22 footage. Um, the landing spots for these guys is going to be really important for their value. So depending where they get drafted, you will see these 3 shift around quite a bit, I think, more than most people in the area. But yeah, I want to be honest with you here on the rookies. They're the tail end of my top 25, 26 here with Tyson. But depending where they land, they got potential to shift up. So that's all we've got for the top 25, 26 receivers for 2026. This is obviously a very early tier list. For those of you crazies that are already drafting, I know Underdog's got their big board leagues going already. So we wanted to get this out as early as possible. Now the Super Bowl's over. I feel a little bit more comfortable where everything is. You know, you're not really seeing many more injuries happening to any of these guys. And we're going to get ready for free agency and the draft coming up here. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.